Did you say you have one lens only? You're in the right place. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thomas Love here from beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, and today I'd like to discuss with you a very important aspect about the upcoming cameras, because the future holds what we don't know yet, but what are we going to ask for? More megapixels or a better ISO management? So I've been shooting with my Leica Q2 for more than 2 years now, almost 3, and I really love it. And the impression I had was that the earlier releases of the software like V1, V2 had a better ISO management. I don't know if it's a bias I have or I don't know where it is coming from, but in my everyday use I will never overcome ISO 3200, which is already high for me. So what am I going to ask Santa to put into the Leica Q3? More megapixels, like 60 megapixels, similar to the M11, or a better ISO management? I will definitely go to a better ISO management, and I'm going to show you a few examples so we know what we're talking about. I would love to compare some shots I've taken with my old Nikon that was 24 megapixels, so we can put them side by side with the 47 megapixel photos I'm taking right now with my Leica Q2, and then I would love to deep dive into night photography. So I'm gonna pick up a few examples to go till a certain level of magnification and see the noise that we have generated at a certain levels or ISO. So we don't procrastinate anymore. If you're ready, let's go rolling.
So here we go with the very first example. This is from my Leica Q2, a street photography session I had a couple of days ago. So this is a photo I've taken at 47 megapixel, and as you can see, there are plenty of details. This is another picture I have taken with my Leica. As you can see, here too we have plenty of details if you want to zoom in and change the framing. Third and last example from my Leica, and as you can see here too we have plenty of details thanks to the 47 megapixel sensor in this camera. But the same thing applies to 24 megapixels. Let's take an example with this photo that I've taken with my Nikon. As you can see here, also with 24 megapixel we had plenty of details. Second example from a Nikon, always 24 megapixel. This time I was using 400 ISO and 105 millimeters zooming in, and as you can see we have enough details to do any cropping we might need. Another example, always from my Nikon. This beautiful dog is quite famous here in Vancouver, and I was always using 400 ISO with daylight. As you can see, the results with 24 megapixel were excellent. I love this picture. Last example from my Leica. As you can see, you have enough details to zoom in, and also the driver is in focus. Different thing is if we want to think about the ISO management. So now we're having a fair comparison of a similar shot I've taken with my Nikon. Here I was using my 50mm f1.4 lens, so I was at f1.8 and 1600 ISO. There are little to no grains in the darker areas. Yes, you can see some grains here, but it doesn't really bother me. If you have a look at the full picture, it's a beautiful photo. And now let's compare it with 1600 ISO on my Leica Q2. As you can see, the grains are present and they are even worse than the Nikon. So we are here comparing two different shots taken with two different full frame cameras, and both shots at 1600 ISO. These are the grains that you can see from the Leica shot, and these are the grains that you can see from the Nikon shot. Here I was at Granville Island. It was raining, so some of these lines that you see, it's just the rain, not the grains, but there are plenty of grains in this photo. And here I was using only ISO 800, so not that much. It doesn't really bother me, but I can see them. Same night, always ISO 800. You can see the rain, and you can also see the grains. And now let's compare them to a couple different shots I took with my Nikon back in the days when I was shooting with the Nikon. Here my subject is well enlightened because we are in the streets in Gastown. As you can see, we are also having cars passing by, and so my suggestion is try to find conditions that allow you to shoot handheld. If you have to shoot handheld, this is a big help. Here I was shooting at f2.8 1600 ISO. Little to no grains in the darker areas. Of course you can see them if you go with the magnification. This is way too much. I can eventually count the pixels here. But overall, it was a very good result handheld at 1600 ISO.
A long story short, I really wanted to deep dive and see the level of details that we had already at 24 megapixel. I'm really sorry I didn't have the original Q to compare, so that's why I've taken a few shots from my old Nikon. But I mean, we already had enough details at 24 megapixel, and with 47 megapixel we are having right now in the Q2, you saw it. This is why they enhanced the digital zooming, basically the crop modes that we have in the Q2, 35mm, 50mm, and eventually 75mm. It's just a digital zoom, or you can call it crop, whatever it is. But we don't need more than that, but we need a better ISO management, because especially with 47 megapixels and going onward towards the 60 megapixel, the 100 megapixels we saw in the Hasselblad X2D, that's really too much. And so if you are increasing that much the number of megapixels within the same frame, which is a full frame, so it always has the same dimensions, basically you are filling it with smaller and more pixels. The end result will be a worse light management, so you either need a tripod or you need proper lighting. But if you are out there and you want to use your stabilization that helps you to a certain extent, it's because you don't have a tripod with you and you cannot go any faster and you don't want to pump that much the ISO, so we need a better ISO management. With that, I hope the examples were clear enough. If not, please let me know down here in the comment. I hope you had some value out of this video. If you did, please remember to like it, share it on your social media, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the new videos to come, and I guess I will see you later. Thank you.